Let's take a break from loops and arrays, and I want to teach you how to use if statements within Java. If statements allows us to execute a block of code based on a condition, and the condition is either true or false. So if the condition is true, we execute the piece of code. Otherwise, we can tell it to execute another piece of code. So in here, if I say if, this is the command, and here I'm going to have parentheses, and I'm going to say true. So if true, I'm going to print this code runs. So if I run this, have a look, you can see that it says this code runs. If I say false and then run it, you can see that nothing gets executed because this condition is false. Therefore, it doesn't execute any piece of code that you have within the curly brackets. I can also have the else statement. So if this condition is false, I can say else. This is the default. So here I'm going to say south. This code runs when false, and this is when true. So if I run this, have a look. You can see that this code runs when false. If I switch this to true in here, this piece of code will be executed and this will not. So anything that you have within these curly brackets won't be executed. So if I run this, we should see this code runs when true. Now, bear in mind that if you have, for example, here, south, and then code outside if, this piece of code in here will always execute because it's outside of the if condition, right? So if it performs this right here, and then it carries on in here, right? So if true, print this line and then carry on the execution of the program. So if I run this, have a look. So we have this code runs when true, which is this piece of code. But if I change which is this piece of code, but also have a look, code outside if, which is this line. So if I was to have, for example, south and then hello as well, so this will also print. Have a look, code outside if, hello. But here, this is executed because of this line in here. But if I say false, this is no longer executed, but this condition in here. So therefore, we'll get a different result. So if I run this, you can see this code runs when false, and then we get the same result for line 11 and 12 because this is outside of the if statement. So this is the general idea of if statements. What I want to teach you next is how to use if statements with conditions.